So happy you are here to join me for some yoga, getting into our bodies, connecting to our infinite soul power, and practicing some love, self-love. Oh, Xander's in the room. Hi, Xander. And today we're going to be practicing hip openers. So hip and heart. We're not going to be doing heart openers for today, but our focus is going to be, we're going to keep the hips open, let's keep the heart open. Let's always keep the heart open as best as we can as humans. And let's keep that conversation inside our minds, loving and positive towards ourselves at all times. That's our primary job, is to be our own greatest cheerleader, to be the softest place to land for ourselves. We are responsible for our own love, for our own acknowledgement. As I was getting on the yoga a little late this morning, it was 7:04 instead of 7 o'clock. I heard my voice go like, oh geez, 2 days in a row you're late. Wait a minute, I'm on. It's okay. I'm going to try to be on time tomorrow. But we have to do our very, very best to be the kindest, most loving parent to ourselves, and to not allow those voices anything but love inside of us. How's Andrew? So let's begin our hip opening pose. It's going to be a beautiful practice, keeping that hip and heart open. So just come into a comfortable seat. You can get yourself in a hand mudra of your choice and gently engage those bandhas. So we'll be using the bandhas for this practice. Those are energetic locks in the body. So as we breathe and we bring in the prana and the life force and we raise the vitality inside our body, we have 3 locks that seals that energy in. You don't want to be like filling an tire with air and have it have a couple leaks and it just keeps leaking out as you fill it. So this contains the leaks. So the first one is the Mula Bandha, that's the pelvic floor, the Kegels. You engage that perineum, and we're going to engage it gently. We're not going to clench it by any means, but just a gentle engagement. The second one is our Uddiyana Bandha, and that's when we bring the belly in and up a little. And you don't want to be clenching that either, because we're going to be breathing into our belly. We're just lifting it up a little bit, and a very slight engagement for our Uddiyana Bandha, so we can still breathe and feel that belly expand in and out as we breathe. And the third one is the Jarandala Bandha. That's the chin comes in just a little bit, and the tongue is on the roof of the mouth. All 3 together are called the Mala Bandha when we engage all 3. So we invite you to engage all 3 as much as possible throughout the practice. So engaging those bandhas very gently and closing the eyes, taking a moment now to just drop into mindful breathing, but breathing into this belly. So mindful belly breathing. Bring all your awareness to that breath as you feel that belly expand in and out, as we trigger that relaxation response throughout our body. And so we'll be breathing through our belly the entire practice, right in this lower abdomen here. And that way we'll be triggering that relaxation response and calming the nervous system in the body throughout the entire practice. So that is a way we can trick the body out of anxiety and into a state of relaxation and peace, just by breathing into this belly. And so with your eyes closed, I invite you to go inside and scan the body. Check in how you're doing inside. Dive into that kingdom of heaven. Give it some attention. Noticing. You may notice your heart beating. You may notice a sense of spaciousness within. You may feel lots of energy within. Breathing into the belly, just checking in. And I invite you to keep your focus inward throughout this practice. Really aware and connected to how you're feeling inside throughout the entire practice. And I invite you to dive into the emotional being. That's even a little deeper and a little more expanded than sensation. And allow yourself to simply bask in that emotional aspect of yourself. And enjoy that basking. Don't title or label or never judge the emotions. Just feel them fully as a kaleidoscope, as an ocean of an emotion, and just feeling them. And allowing that to be a blissful experience, regardless of the emotion. And I invite you now to plant that seed of intention into that rich soil of your consciousness. Something wonderful you'd like to create for yourself. And set it in there and repeat it to yourself now in the positive and present tense. And bringing your awareness back to the breath. And let's move into a couple of three-part yogic breaths, three-part yogic breaths. So inhaling into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And then letting it go. And into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And letting it go. One more time. Into the belly, the ribs, feeling this whole front abdominal cavity into the chest. Pause a minute here and let it go. Beautiful job. Let's bring the hands to the knees and let's move around in some pelvic grinds. And as we move, notice sensations in your body. Notice the lower back, the thighs. Just notice wherever there's sensation and inviting you, if there's a spot that feels really good, you can always massage that. We're taking our time here. Got plenty of time. We've got a lot of hip opener poses, but if we don't get to them all, I'll include some tomorrow. It's okay. Keeping that breath flowing into the belly. Feeling that gift of moving and sensation in your body. We're getting our awareness more and more embodied. We want to be very connected to this body. We can be more powerful and empowered in this life. Let's move the other direction. If your awareness gets into a car and it's not very connected or present to the state of driving, then you may not be as empowered in your driving. Same as with the body. Our awareness, which is our infinite, eternal, unchanging self that lives lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, is animating through this body, this lifetime, for a blink of an eye. And the way we can be more empowered in this life and have a more rich experience and learn and grow more is to be fully embodied. Just take it on. We're here. We're physical anyways. You might as well embody the consciousness into the legs, into the feet, into the fingers. Some people are so disconnected from their body, they don't even know they got legs. And coming back to center. Beautiful. And we're going to move into our first hip opener, which is our Baddha Konasana. And we're going to bring those feet together. This is our butterfly. And holding onto those feet, and let's press those legs down towards the floor as best as you can, as far as you can. If your legs are still up here, that's okay. You just find that edge and rest on that edge, wherever that edge is. So you're challenging yourself just a little. You're not pushing a 10. We're not getting ready for the Olympics or a marathon. We're just allowing our body to open, not forcing, but allowing. Just feeling that nice stretch. And let's inhale as we lengthen the spine. And exhale, hinging forward. And feel those hips opening as you hinge forward. And find your edge here. Just find that edge where you can feel sensation. It's still in the feel so good. And then we'll rest here on the feel so good. So I invite you at any time throughout this practice, if you need to move out of a pose sooner than me, or even if you want to stay in one longer, this is your practice. Please honor your body. If you ever enter into pain, back off immediately. You never go into pain in yoga. That's your body saying you've stretched too far. You're pushing too far. Something's just not quite right. So let's see if we can hinge a little deeper now that we've held that edge a breath or two. Breathing into the belly. Beautiful job. And let's come up. And let's flap those butterfly wings, releasing those hips a little bit. Beautiful job. I'm going to invite you to do something you haven't done yet or for a while, and that is reclined Baddha Konasana, which is Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined butterfly. It's also called bound angle at times. So we go to the side here. If we're in our butterfly, we're going to take the arms down, come down onto our forearms, and then gently laying down on the back. And resting here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Just allow the legs to relax and breathe through the belly. And gently coming back onto the hands and bringing yourself up. Beautiful job. And we're going to move now into Hero's Pose. And I think I will, you can do this with a block or without. So we're going to, come up onto you're on your knees, you're resting on your calves, backs of the feet. And then you can just open up those feet a little bit and either come down to the mat, or if you like, you can put a block underneath you and come down to a block if that's easier. So I'm going to come down to the mat. And we just sit in this hero's pose for a few breaths, breathing into the belly. Engaging those bandhas gently, breathing into the belly. Beautiful job. And if you'd like to try Supta Virasana, Because the hero's pose is Virasana. So Supta Virasana is reclined hero's pose. So again, we're going to come back onto our forearms and then gently laying down on our back. If this is too much for you, just stay in your Virasana, your hero's pose, and breathing into the belly. Feel a nice stretch on the quadriceps, these front thighs. One more breath. Beautiful. And coming up onto the forearms and then the hands and coming back to a seated position. And we're going to move into our Agnisthambasana, our frog now. So this one we've done before. So we're going to come up onto our hands and knees in a nice table pose here. We're going to take those knees out as far as our flexibility allows. Feeling that nice stretch there. We're going to flex those feet. Flex those feet and then bring the calves and shins out and the feet out wider than the knees. And so here we are in our frog, and you can use a block if that helps you. Use a block. Sometimes people use a chair. Use that. Or you can just stay up on your hands, or you can come down onto the forearms. And what we're going to do is we're going to push those hips back towards the feet until you find your edge. And breathe here. Engage those bandhas and breathe. One more breath, keeping those hips back. Beautiful job. You can move forward now. Come up onto your hands. Release those feet. Bring those knees back together. Beautiful job. All right, and what we're going to do next is just a little squat. So this is also a hip opener. One of the things about a squat is if you can try to get those heels down towards the floor and do that. I'm not very good at that. So we're coming up onto both feet. Knees are bent. We're in a squat. And see if you can balance back down onto those heels. And then bring those hands up in Anjali position. And if you want to press those knees apart with the elbows, that's a nice little option variation you can do to open the hips even more. So let's engage those bandhas and let's breathe into that belly 3 times. Beautiful job. We did our nice seated squat, Malasana. All right, coming back. Let's move into our fire log. That's Agnisthambasana. The frog is Mandukasana. I'm sorry about that. So we're going to do our fire log. And what I'd like you to do is take both legs out. This is a really good hip opener. If you can't do this whole thing, then a modification is just to do one side at a time, not have both feet up. So we're going to take that left leg out a little wide, and then we're going to take the right leg in so it's parallel to the front of the mat right here. And then we're going to flex the foot. Both feet will be flexed in a minute. And then we're going to take the left leg and we're going to stack. It's also been called knee to ankle. So we're going to stack that right leg Now, like I say, if you can't do that, then just do one at a time and just move into this. But if you can get that ankle on top of that, and then I like to use a cushion or a block. This is all the space right here for me. And you can just put that there, and then flexing both feet. Beautiful. Inhaling up, you can bring the hands down to the mat for stability. And we're just going to sit here and breathe into our belly. You can feel the sensation here in the pose correctly as we open up the hips. In a beautiful fire log, like in Savasana. And breathe. Noticing sensation. You can even hinge a little forward if you want to add some more sensation to yourself. One more breath here. Beautiful job. Coming straight up. If you are hinging forward a little, remove any block or cushion. And let's go over to the other side. So you want to do both sides in this. So bringing both feet out. And take that right foot out to the side and take that left foot, bend it in so we're as parallel as possible to the front edge of this mat. And flex that left foot. And take the right foot so it's resting, the ankle's resting on the knee. And the knee and the ankle here are aligned. Then flexing both feet. You can put your cushion or your block in there. And bringing the hands to the floor and lengthening up and breathing into the belly. And you can either be right here, just straight up, or if you like to hinge a little forward, you can do that too. And just breathing into the belly, feeling sensation in this beautiful fire log, really nice, pretty intensive opener. Beautiful job. Back to center, releasing your prop if you have one, and releasing the legs. Beautiful. And we're going to come into a table pose, and we're going to be setting up for Anjaneyasana, which is our lunge. And we're going to just stay in a nice low lunge. We're going to first do a lunge, and then we're going to move into some rocks. So let's take that left leg, bring it up between the hands. The right knee is on the floor, but we can take that right knee back just a little bit. Beautiful. And then coming up to the knee here. We're in a nice low lunge. And then I invite you to simply hinge those hips forward. Start to move them forward, noticing sensation in this right hip. And holding there for a moment and just breathe into the belly, engage those bandhas. You need to put a blanket under your knee, feel free to do that. That back knee. One more breath here. And reclining back. Beautiful job. And let's go back into our table pose. And let's bring that right leg up. And let's bring that left knee back a little bit. Remembering if you do need to put a little blanket or towel under that knee, that's okay in the back center. And coming up onto your knee. And let's hinge forward. Opening up this hip. Feels really good. And breathing, gauging those bandhas, bringing in the prana and life force. Keeping the heart open in this pose. Hips are open, we want the heart open. Open to love, open to receive. One more breath. And hinging back. Beautiful job. We're going to go back into table. We're going to go back over to the other side. Because, well, let's go into our lunge rocks first. We'll go back over to the other side, moving into some lunge rocks. So we're going to lunge forward. Hands are on the mat, so we've got the weight in the hand. And as you lunge forward, just opening up that hip, making some micro movements that feel good. And keeping that breath flowing, that heart open. And remembering to keep that heart open towards yourself first. We can't give what we don't already have. So the more we can love ourselves, the more we can love others and the God of our understanding. So the trick and the key, and the gift is to love ourselves. Love everything about us, the good, the bad, the different, our flaws, our weaknesses, our strengths, our gifts, our talents, whatever it is, just love ourselves unconditionally, just the way we want others to love us. When you're back on this lunge, you can flex and extend that foot. And so just finding your own pace, lunging back and forth. You lunge forward, feeling that hip opener, and enjoying the sensations and finding your rhythm. And keeping that focus on an open heart towards yourself, towards others and all life, and the God of your understanding. Keeping the breath flowing. This is your practice. Dive deeply within, being deeply with yourself, the inner being. Noticing what's going on inside as you move and flow. Taking one more deep breath. And coming back to center. And let's bring that left leg back. And let's bring the right leg up. We're going to move into some lunge rocks on this side. So lunging forward as you're opening up this left hip here. And making some micro movements, whatever feels good for you in your body. Massaging. And then as you hinge back, feeling that nice extension on the right leg, the back of the leg muscles stretching. You can flex and extend that right foot. And have those bandhas engaged and bringing the prana in through the breath in the belly. Just go into a nice meditative flow here, finding your pace, fully engaged in your own beautiful sensations. You can use your Jaya breath if you like. And taking one more breath in this beautiful lunge rock, honoring your body. And then coming up to center. We're going to move into blaster pose now. So I invite you to take that knee back even a little bit more if you can. And then bring both, your right foot is forward, so we're going to bring both hands on the inside of the foot. And begin to hinge forward a little bit, feeling that opening of the hips. Now if you need a block, you can bring both hands onto a block. Both hands are on the inside. You can have it up on the highest or down on the lowest. Find what works for you. You can even have your forearms down. And find what works for you, and let's breathe into the body, into sensation. 3 deep breaths as we engage those bones. We're going to breathe into that belly. Beautiful job. And coming back to neutral. Bring those hands to either side of the foot, taking that right leg back. And let's take that left leg forward. Bringing the hands on the inside of the left leg. Using a block if you need to. Bring that right knee back a little bit, whatever feels right, hinging forward a little bit, and finding what works for you, whether it's just having your hands on the mat or whether you're up onto a block. Feeling that nice sensation in the hip. Or if you want to come down a little lower onto the forearms and breathe. Beautiful. Last breath and coming up. Beautiful job. Let's move into a nice beautiful child's pose and take a few relaxation breaths. Opening up those knees, letting the belly rest between the knees, bringing the head down to the mat, relaxing the arms, and taking this time to dive into the innermost sanctuary of your own heart and just bask in that heart center for a few breaths here. Basking in your own self-love. Beautiful job. Taking one more breath here. Sinking into that self-love. And coming up. We're going to come up onto our knees, bringing those knees together. We're going to move into our camel Ustrasana. So we're going to take those, let's take those hands and we're going to bring them right to the small of the back here, this lumbar spine. Beautiful. And knees are hip width apart and legs and feet hip width apart. And the first thing we're going to do is open that heart up. Open the heart up. This is a little back bend. So the heart is going to be open. So take those shoulder blades and squeeze them together a little bit and open up the shoulders and the chest. And the head is going to stay in alignment with the spine. We're not going to drop the head. We're going to keep it in alignment with the spine. So feeling that nice, gentle back bend as you open up the chest and begin to bend back, arch that back and bend back a little. Now this, and take those hips Use the hip opener and move them back over the knees. Sometimes when we start to arch back, they come back, and then we got to move them back over the knees. That's where the hips open. So make sure they're back over the knees. The hips are aligned with the knees. And this is a beautiful pose. This can be your full camel pose, breathing in this. If you'd like to challenge yourself a little more, you can come bring the hands down to the heels, or you can come up onto those toes and bring your hands down to the heels. That's going to bring you back again. So you're going to move the body back over the hips. And engage those bandhas and breathe. One more breath. And coming up, bringing the hands back to the small of the back. And we're going to move into our child's pose again. It's a nice little counter pose. Before we move into our pigeon, our half pigeon. And just relaxing in child's pose and letting all that energy integrate. Finding that place of love to rest in within your own being. Maybe even sending yourself some words of affirmation, telling yourself how much you acknowledge yourself and love and appreciate yourself. And then coming up, again, back up into a table pose. We're going to move into our pigeon. And this is our Anapatanasana. So we're going to look between our hands here, maybe widen them just a little bit. And we're going to take this left leg and we're going to bring the knee up and take that foot out. If you can get that leg so that it's parallel to the front of the mat, that's great. I can't quite do that. I'm not quite that flexible. And then we're going to take the back leg and extend that back as far as you can. And then take those hands so they're right in front of you. And we don't want to let that hip roll over on that side. So we want to be balancing up like this. Now you can use a block for this again. And you can have it up here. You have the highest. This. Find the level that works for you, or if the floor works for you. Or if you are more flexible, you can just bring those hands down to the floor, the forearms down. Bring the head down and really feel that nice opening of the hip. And let's engage those bandhas and breathe. Beautiful job. And on the next inhale, coming up. Beautiful job. And we'll bring that left leg back and move back into our table pose. Knees are under the hips, hands are under the shoulders. Let's open those hands just a little bit as we take that right leg up. Right knee, and then bringing the leg as close to 90 degrees. I can't make that, so do the best you can. And then that left leg is going to be extending back, just as far as your flexibility allows. And then we're coming up, so we're not falling back on that hip. We're going to be balancing, hovering right over the body. And so we can be here. You can use a block. Feeling that nice hip opener now on the left side. You can feel it on the right as well with Pigeon. It's such a great hip opener. If you want to come down, bring the arms down. You can do that. And let's take 3 nice deep breaths as we feel that hip open. Beautiful job. And coming up. All the way up. All right, so let's just come back. Let's bring those feet out in front of us, scooting up to the front edge of the mat, the front of the mat, and let's move into our spinal locks and get us down on the floor. So you can bring the hands behind the knees and just rocking back. Doing that nice massage on the back. And just enjoying that. And eventually coming down on your back. Beautiful. And let's take those knees up, those legs up, straighten them, and feel that nice rest on the veins. I call it a vacation for the veins. And I invite you, if you like to move into half shoulder stand, lift those hips up, grab those hips, those feet so they're right above the head. Nice inversion for today. Engage those bandhas and breathe. If you don't want to go into half shoulder stand, you can just leave those feet out. And let's hinge over into plow. Finding your edge there, protecting that lower back. You don't want to overextend. If your feet naturally hit the floor, that's okay. I find I have more back benefit, and this protects my lower back better. To just keep my legs parallel to the floor. Some people are more flexible than I am, for sure. One more nice deep breath here. Beautiful. Let's curl those knees in. Bring those hands down and coming down to the mat. It's beautiful. Let's move into our fish here. I had dreams of fish last night, so might as well do some fish. The fish pose, extending the legs out, flat on your back. The palms are facing down on the mat. So we're going to lift our buttocks up, bring the hands underneath each buttocks, and then snug those elbows in towards the body. And on your next inhale, pressing into the elbows and forearms, lifting the chest, heart is opening up, head lifts up off the mat, and then as you slowly come down, let the crown of the head rest on the earth. So we've got a nice back bend going on the upper back, these upper thoracics. And breathe. Keep that focus on that open heart. Still breathing into the belly. Beautiful job. On your next inhale, pressing into the elbows, lifting the head. And then as you exhale, allowing that body to come down, releasing those hands from underneath the buttocks and tucking those knees right into the chest and rolling around a little bit. Releasing and relaxing that lower back. And we're all in this great position now for our baby pose. And baby pose, Ananda Balasana is Happy Baby. This is perfect hip opener too. We always love to finish on baby. So we're going to do baby pose, and then we're going to do some releases and Savasana. So bringing those feet so they're facing the sky, opening up those knees nice and wide so the knees are in line with at least the armpits, but they're not going to come down on the ribs. Grasping the outer edges of those feet. Now your lumbar spine is resting on the mat. We're not lifting up. So that lumbar spine, you can feel that sacrum on the mat. And then we're going to pull those knees down in towards the armpit. And breathe. And that nice hip opener. Pull down. And then releasing that a little bit, let's move into Ananda Balasana, Happy Baby. Just rolling around, feeling what feels good in your body, moving that body, stretching, just playing with your body. And this is a really good time if you have any poses that you wanted to do that we didn't do, to move into that. Oh, there's one more pose that I really wanted to do that we didn't do. I'm sorry, it's reclined pigeon. Let's do that before we end. We have time. Sorry about that. This is a nice, easy one and fun one. So this is reclined pigeon. Some people call it the four pose. We've done it a lot. We're going to bring both feet onto the mat. Knees are up, and both feet are on the mat, hip width apart. And let's take that left leg, bend it up, and rest the left ankle on the right knee. And so see, your leg makes kind of a four, but it's also called reclined pigeon sometimes. And then we're going to lift that right foot off the floor, bring the right knee in towards the body, bring the hands right behind the right hamstring, and begin to snug that leg in towards the body. And you'll feel this is a great hip opener that we just don't want to miss today. And find your edge, engage those bandhas, and breathe through the belly. Bring the prana and life force into your physical being. Keeping that edge. And you may deepen it as you move through the breaths. And releasing the leg. And bring that right foot back down onto the mat. And we're going to release the left, and we're going to go to the other side. So left foot is on the mat, left knee is up. We're going to take that right, lift that right leg up, and rest the right ankle on the left knee. And then lifting the left foot, bringing the left knee towards the body, clasping those hands behind the left leg on the hamstring, and gently pulling that left leg in towards the body till you find your edge. And then engage those bandhas and breathe into the belly. And then your next exhale, releasing that leg. And bringing both feet flat on the mat. Both knees are up. Feet are hip width apart. Knees are hip width apart. We'll move into our releases. So we're going to move into our hula first. So we're going to keep that sacrum flat on the mat. Nothing's going to lift up off the mat. We're just going to swivel these hips. And let's swivel those hips. So right hip is coming down towards the right heel. Left hip is coming up towards the left armpit. And then swiveling the other direction, bringing that left hip down to left heel and right hip up towards the right armpit. So they're just going in that direction. Obviously, our hips aren't going to reach our heel, but we're just going in that direction and swiveling back and forth. We feel ourselves swiveling on that sacrum that's flat on the mat. It's feeling this nice hula as we swivel these hips. Noticing sensation, nice, slow, repetitive movements, and enjoy this movement, enjoy the sensation. You're slowing down, getting ready for Savasana, releasing that lower back, that whole hip area, whole pelvic area. Keeping the breath flowing into the belly, and bandhas gently engaged. One more breath here. Coming back to center, beautiful. Move into hip pointers. So now we're going to let one butt cheek at a time lift up off the mat. The other butt cheek is going to be rooted into the mat. So let's start on our left side, right hip and butt cheek are rooted into the mat. And we're going to lift that left hip up and we're going to point it diagonally towards the sky. And then releasing that down, we'll go to the other side. Left butt cheek is rooted into the mat. And we're going to lift that right hip and point that up towards the sky. And just moving back and forth at your own pace, keeping those bandhas gently engaged and bringing the prana and the life force in with your breath. Breathing into the belly, nice, slow, repetitive movements. Noticing sensations, enjoying the sensations. Feeling that love for the self, that appreciation for the self. And coming back to center, beautiful job. Let's move into a little cat-cow on the mat. So we move into our cat. We're going to press the small of them back, those lumbar spine into the mat, tucking the tailbone under. And then as we move into cat, we're going to feel that spine arch up off the mat. Even if your back doesn't arch up, your spine is going to be arching up and your tail is going to be sticking into the mat. That's our extension. And then we move back into flexion as we move into cat. Feeling the spine, the lumbar spine pressing into the mat, tucking the tailbone under. And just moving back and forth, cat and cow. I like to inhale on my cow, my extension, and exhale on my cat. Most important thing is to keep the breath flowing in the belly. And then gently engage the bandhas. And use Ujjayi breath if you like. And back to center. Beautiful job. And let's move into double knee drops. So let's drop both knees over to one side or the other. And with this, you can either windshield wiper those knees back and forth, or if you like, you got both knees over to one side, you can lift that top knee nice and slow, bringing it over to the other side, allowing the bottom knee to follow, and both are over onto the other side again. So finding what works for you today, maybe doing a little of both, keeping that breath flowing into the belly. And bringing those knees back up to center. We do our last release before Savasana. So keeping the knees up, let's walk those feet out to the wide edges of the mat. So the feet are further apart from each other. And then we're going to drop one knee at a time into the center. Nice, slow, repetitive movements again. Gentle engagement of the bandhas, and let's breathe into the belly. Fully present to sensation. Bring all your awareness to the sensation you're feeling in your body temple. This is the living temple. No temple on earth can compare to this body temple. And bringing those knees up, back to center, walking those legs together. Let's bring those knees into the chest. Final release of the lower back, rocking back and forth a little bit. Releasing those legs, bringing them straight out and moving into your Savasana position. Legs are extended out, arms are to the side, flopping out, feet are flopping out. Spine a nice restful position, allowing the whole body to release and relax, become heavier and sink deeper into the earth. Feeling that support of the earth on your body, holding your body. And letting everything go and resting in silence for a few minutes. Taking a nice deep breath into the belly. Begin to come back. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, stretching out the arms and legs. Back into the body, rolling over to one side, letting yourself integrate here for a breath. And then pushing yourself up into seated position. Do a little drumming, see if we have a spontaneous chant that wants to arise within me. So taking this moment to close your eyes and bring yourself back into your inner being and checking in and noticing, scanning inside, noticing how you're feeling inside, noticing sensations. Diving into the emotional body, bringing it on, feeling it fully. Maybe the emotions are a little more settled. Maybe there's a little more spaciousness within. Maybe not. It's okay. Whatever is there is there. Acknowledge it and allow it to be as it is. Bringing your loving awareness into the sound, into the heart. Allowing your awareness to caress the heart. And then returning back to that intention that you set at the beginning of practice. And repeating that to yourself as you reaffirm it into your consciousness. And we'll conclude with Namaste. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is of love, of light, of truth, and of peace. When I am in that place in me and you are in that place in you, we are one. Namaste. We will have our Rapture Meditation in about 5 to 10 minutes, so please tune back for Rapture. Every Thursday we have Rapture Meditation, and we have an upcoming Rapture event as well as our Earth event that's coming up, so please check those out. Earth is a live stream global meditation for peace. It's coming up on May 7th, Saturday, May 7th at 1 a.m. One World, 1 a.m. And our Rapture Meditation is August, the beginning of August. So thank you. Wishing you a beautiful and blessed day.